It was never meant to be like this. Not a cabin at the edge of the world, not rain dripping through splintered roof beams, not her heartbeat so loud she swore it would betray her. Racheal pressed her back to the rough wall, knees drawn to her chest. The cracked phone screen glowed weakly in her hands, 1% battery, the cold blue light trembling over her face. She brought it to her lips. "Mama, if you get this, I'm sorry. I didn't come here to shame you. I swear I didn't. The wind outside cut through the broken window like a blade. She swallowed her words, frozen. Footsteps, boots crunching wet leaves. Closer, closer. Her thumb hovered over send. The signal bar flickered. A beam of white light split the dark. A shape filled the cabin doorway, broad shoulders, uniform soaked dark with rain. The flashlight found her face, and she froze like an animal cornered in a trap. His voice sliced through the storm, low, sharp, all authority. "If you want to live, you never saw me. Understand?" He stepped forward. Closer now. She saw his eyes, dark, watchful, a secret burning behind them. Racheal didn't nod. She couldn't. But her breath caught as the boot stopped inches from her knees. He reached out, killed the phone's glow with one gloved hand. Silence swallowed them whole, except for the rain hammering the tin roof like distant gunfire. Somewhere outside, another voice barked orders in Korean, clipped, urgent. He crouched, so close she smelled the rain on his jacket, the faint scent of metal and old secrets. He whispered, each word a command pressed to her ear. Not a sound, not a move, not now. His flashlight snapped off. Darkness ate them both. Some weeks earlier. Seoul had always been a name in her mouth, a bright promise whispered between cramped Lagos classrooms and nights under a flickering bulb. Now, standing in the arrivals hall, single bag hugged tight to her side, Racheal felt that promise breathing against her skin. 25, first in her family to fly overseas for an engineering scholarship. Her mother's voice still clung to her ear. "Make us proud, Racheal. Keep your head down. Don't trust too easily." The cold bit through her thin coat before she even reached the dorms. The campus felt like glass. Clean lines, polite faces, doors that opened at a touch. But no one looked her way twice. Her tiny room smelled of fresh paint and loneliness. The girl down the hall smiled once, then forgot her name. She told herself it didn't matter. She hadn't come for friends, just for the degree that would change everything. Only 3 contacts in her Korean phone. Soo-jin, her scholarship handler, brisk, precise, her polite smile never quite touching her eyes. Her faculty advisor, who barely remembered she was there. And back home, her little brother, whose WhatsApp messages were all gifs and "no boyfriend, oh." Each morning, she sat through lectures that felt like secret codes she had to crack twice, once for the language, once for the math. At night, she pushed through lab work alone, careful to finish before the last bus. But it was never enough. Not for the voice back home, not for herself. So when Soo-jin gave her a special project, data input for the lab's restricted archives, she jumped at the chance. Anything to stand out. She didn't know the lock codes were meant to keep her out, or that the door she pushed open at 10 p.m. one Friday would crack her world open like a glass dropped on concrete. She only meant to return a file, a single USB she'd borrowed to fix a corrupted lab record. The door to the back wing was slightly ajar, just wide enough for her curiosity to slip through. She stepped inside. The hall smelled wrong. Stale coffee, burnt dust from old heaters. Voices drifted from an open conference room, low, tense, not the bored chatter of grad students or sleepy professors. She peered through the gap. Inside were 4 men, one in a crisp suit, foreign, pale-skinned, heavy gold ring on his finger, the others in uniform. And him, the tall one, hair slick under a military beret, face half-shadowed under fluorescent lights. The table between them, open folders, satellite images, diagrams stamped classified, words she could barely read. Weapons system transfer, DMZ corridor. Money changed hands. The suited man signed something, voice thick with an accent that was not Korean. Junho leaned forward, pointing to a map, explaining something she couldn't hear but could feel in her bones. Racheal held her breath. The USB slipped from her fingers, clinking on the tile like a gunshot. Heads turned to see where the sound had come from. They saw her. He saw her first. For a second, neither moved. Then, the door slammed open. He lunged. She turned and ran, heartbeats smashing against her ribs. She ran blind through the dim hallway, past dark labs and rows of lockers that blurred into grey walls. Behind her, boots struck tile in sharp, echoing snaps. She hit the back stairwell, 3 floors down, knees buckling. She burst through the exit, stumbled into the wet dark. The campus looked different at night, cold, empty, the neon glow of dorm windows flickering like watchful eyes. Racheal didn't stop. She ducked between buildings, feet splashing through puddles, breath burning in her chest. She reached the back gate. The security booth was empty, the guard asleep or gone. She pushed through. She kept going. It wasn't until she collapsed behind a row of trash bins near the old lecture hall that she let herself breathe. Her phone buzzed. A single message from her brother back home. "Sis, you good? Mum said you should call. She misses you." She wanted to scream. Instead, she typed, "I'm fine." She wasn't. Hours later, back in her room, she scrubbed her hands raw under the sink. Her reflection stared back, wet hair clinging to her neck, eyes wide and wild. Her phone rang. Soo Jin. She let it ring out, again and again. She crawled under the thin blanket, listening to every creak in the hall. She knew she should pack, should run. But to where? To who? Sleep came in jagged pieces. When she woke, sunlight bled through the blinds. Her phone buzzed with a new message. "Come to the lab. Now." She found Soo Jin waiting by the main door, arms folded tight, eyes narrowed to slits. "You saw something you shouldn't have." Racheal's voice cracked. "I didn't. I swear, it was nothing. Don't lie." Soo Jin stepped closer. Too close. Her breath smelled of stale coffee and cold anger. "If you run, they'll think you know more. You don't want that, do you?" Racheal shook her head. "No, no, no." But her eyes drifted past Soo Jin's shoulder, and there he was, Junho. Across the courtyard, uniform crisp, eyes locked on hers like a silent warning. He gave the smallest shake of his head. "Don't speak." Soo Jin's hand closed around Racheal's wrist, cold fingers, a polite smile that felt like handcuffs. "Stay quiet, stay useful, and nothing bad happens. Understand?" Racheal's heart thumped so loud, she wondered if Soo Jin could hear it. Yes, but her mind was already slipping away. To the USB, to the maps, to his eyes telling her something he could never say out loud. She lasted 2 more days. 2 days pretending nothing had happened. Smiles in the lab, nods in the corridor, a ghost in her own skin. But each night she replayed the moment, the door slamming open, his eyes locking with hers, the promise in them. Run. On the 3rd night, she found a note in her dorm mailbox, plain, folded, her name scribbled in hasty English. "Train north, trailhead 27, don't stop." No signature. But she knew. She knew. She packed 1 small bag, 2 rice balls, a half-charged phone. She left her student ID on her desk, proof she hadn't planned to vanish. At the station, she paid cash. She kept her head down. She counted exits, cameras, shadows. On the train, her reflection in the window looked like someone she didn't know. A girl pulled too thin by secrets and fear. When the city lights slipped behind, she felt her chest loosen, just a little. She didn't know where Trailhead 27 was. She didn't know what she'd do when she found him. She just knew she had to try. Hours later, the rain came down in sheets. The trail was a ghost path under dripping pines. Her shoes slipped in the mud. Her coat clung to her shoulders like wet paper. She found the abandoned cabin by accident, a shadow in the trees, half-rotten boards barely holding up the roof. Inside, silence, cold, a place to hide, just until dawn. She pulled out her phone, 1% battery. "Mama, if you get this." The boots found her before her words did. And so there she was, knees to chest, heartbeat pounding against splintered wood, eyes locked on the man whose secrets had become her cage and her key. Junho, the soldier with too many lines on his face for his age, the man who should have turned her in but hadn't. His eyes burned in the flashlight's edge, holding a single truth. You want to live. You trust me now. Outside, the voices closed in, orders barked, lights sweeping the woods like hungry eyes. Inside, silence pressed them together. Two fugitives caught in a war neither had asked to fight. He pressed his finger to her lips. Quiet. He leaned close. Wait.
Thank you very much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. The second part of the video of the story will be out soonest. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on notification if you found the story interesting.